Hello, my friends. According to footage circulating in the media, there is a woman who died after jumping off a bridge in Brazil. And it seems that she was thrown by a team who forgot to secure her. So the team, it seems, according to the footage, once again consists of at least 4 people, including 2 who are responsible for throwing her. So we have a bridge about 40 meters high, and then we have people who come, I want to say without permission or anything, but honestly, who would give you permission to throw people off a bridge, huh? I know the media says they did it without authorization, but honestly, if you're going to do it, what are you going to ask permission for, huh? How are you even going to ask for permission? So, I mean, we're in areas where there isn't much to do, so of course people come here, pay these people, and then jump off the bridge. So normally, when everything goes well, they're tied with a rope, the rope will stop them, and then they'll swing. Even when we look at the footage where everything goes well, it seems that women are particularly attracted to this activity, which is a bit surprising. And actually what we see is that they jump, then the rope holds them back with a certain force. Right there, we already have a first danger. Actually, we have 2 dangers. The first is the risk of the rope breaking, which generally seems to be in pretty bad condition, but also the risk of an internal organ rupturing, or as we say, whiplash, or the spine that goes back, bends backward, and this can also cause damage. After that, the danger we have is the very sudden tipping with a rather steep angle, so significant speeds at the base of the pillar. While there is no device that would prevent someone from going toward the pillar, apparently in similar jumps, people were injured because they hit a bridge pillar. So, as I was saying in this terrible story, these people were working a bit without any particular organization. That means they were throwing people off, but their work didn't follow a standard process, a standard operating procedure. It was simply each person who came, they would improvise the way of working, even though they were doing a cutting-edge activity, an extremely dangerous activity, which would have required an order in which things are done, a strict and clear order, a strict and clear division of tasks, someone to secure the person, someone to go and check that they are properly secured. Those are things that should have been clearly defined. But instead, we were dealing with amateurs, completely reckless. None of that was defined. So each time it was someone different who performed this task. So in the end, it was everyone's responsibility, but really no one's. That's also what we do in aviation, and that's why there are so many professionals watching this channel who are not necessarily connected to aviation, but who work in the medical, nuclear, industrial fields and others, and who find in the way aviation works ways to improve their own safety. For example, in aviation, we have what's called a checklist. A checklist is a list of things to verify. So it's not a recipe, the checklist, it's not a to-do list, it's not a list of things to do, it's a list of things to verify. So in general, pilots work with a sequence, with a logical sequence, with a workflow, and then they verify with the checklist. And when we look at aviation, well, pilots who work without a checklist usually end up on this channel and other channels specialized in aviation safety. Quite simply, let me give you some examples that come to mind. Remember Spanair? They took off without the flaps because they were pilots who worked a bit like those people who threw that girl. So they were flying without following the checklists, without using them. They were working from memory. But when you work from memory, human memory, well, it has a lot of flaws. One of the flaws is that it can't handle interruptions. You know, if someone is in the middle of performing a sequence of complicated tasks, then stops for one reason or another, when they start again, there's no guarantee they'll pick up exactly where they left off. He might begin a bit further along, you see. That's what happened with Spanair. Many died just because of a flap oversight. There was a takeoff without flaps in aviation. Remember this rich man here, Mr. Katz, who was in a private jet with pilots who also weren't checking the checklist? They sped down the runway. When they tried to pull back on the yoke, they realized they had forgotten to remove the control lock. The plane went straight ahead. It crashed into the embankment at high speed. Everyone died. Actually, we see this kind of thing all the time. These kinds of accidents follow a very predictable and repetitive pattern. And actually, you just have to look. There's no need to wait for a death or an accident or an incident. You just have to see how people work. And you know it's going to end badly. Maybe not today, maybe tomorrow or next week, but it's going to end badly. I'll give you an example. In Switzerland, there was a company that ran jumps from a cable car. There was a cable car, and then they set up a bungee jump, okay? So there was a bungee jumping service that was offered. And yet, for commercial reasons, they had set up two bungee cords. A short cord for a short jump and a long cord for a jump from a greater height. And actually, those who wanted to jump from higher up paid more. And so they would position the cable car accordingly, depending on the fee the customer had paid. I mean, at this point, if you're used to watching this channel, you know what happened. You know it. We don't need to read an accident report or anything like that. Well, yes, of course. As you guessed, what happened is that one day someone had paid a certain amount and then he got more than he bargained for. So predictably, someone died. A death, why? To relearn things we already know. In the case of this poor Brazilian woman, you see her being carried in by those two women who throw people overboard. Those two women are tied with ropes. They're tied up in case she falls. So you can tell there was at least some basic sense of safety. But the fact that there are ropes means that mentally, if you're not paying close attention, you let your guard down. And you see this team going out there on that surface, and well, just seeing the ropes, you have to count them. You see what I mean? It's not just about saying there are ropes or there aren't. No, you have to see if there are two or three. You see, it's a much higher cognitive effort. If you're not careful, you just see ropes. But you have to see that the two are tied up, but the client isn't. That's a whole other level. People who were there, it seems, started raising the alarm. They saw that the client wasn't tied up, so they started saying, careful, careful, but it was too late. She was thrown, she fell. The organizers, they ran away, seeing the situation, they ran away. Her companion, the companion of this poor woman who fell, well, what he did, it seems, he fainted, he passed out right there. He felt unwell because he realized that, as Ate Chouette would say, Ate Chouette, this is not going to end well. It's clearly, well, a 40-meter bridge. I mean, there's no way to survive that. And indeed, she was found. So there are some slightly contradictory versions. Some versions say that she was dead upon hitting the ground. Others say that she was found alive and that she died at the hospital. The second version has some credibility in the sense that if you look at the soft and wet ground and all that, it might be possible for a person to survive for a little while, but with internal injuries. Inside maybe, but from the outside you don't see anything. The person looks normal just like you and me. There's nothing special to see. But on the inside you could have major blood vessels that have been ruptured, organs that are crushed, that are bleeding and all that. And then, the blood pressure will drop and everything. And then the person just passes away, So it's also possible that it happened according to this scenario. The organizers were arrested afterwards, but, well, I don't think there was any malice. But it also reminds us of one thing, which is that when we travel to certain destinations, we have to be very careful. She wasn't a traveler, she was a local, we agree, she was a local person. Nevertheless, despite everything I'm saying, you have to be extremely careful, be super vigilant about the fact that when you go on a trip, I gave you an example in Switzerland, right? That means when you go on a trip, when you head into the unknown and engage in risky activities, well, it can end very badly. Personally, I avoid it. Personally, really, really, I avoid it. To tell you, here on the island, I went to see a diving club. I wanted to dive with them. I head in. I didn't like them. Okay, that's enough. See what I mean? I can analyze you. I can analyze some elements, give you more concrete reasons why I didn't want to dive in with them. But it was enough that I didn't like them. It was enough that I didn't feel them. I turned around, I left. it's very, very important to be careful with those activities. It's not just because someone is standing at the edge of a bridge, or someone has a golf watch or a diving bottle, or is ready to take a fee to make you discover something that your safety is guaranteed. Every year, a lot of people die in those situations because, well, it was done carelessly. It was done by non-professionals. Well, they will be judged. They might go to prison. They will be fined. Yes, yes. Will that bring the person back to life? No, not really. All right. So once again, my friends, whatever you do, list, check, checklist, checklist, checklist. Very important. Verification, workflow, division of tasks, communication. There really is a lot to learn from aviation. Before finishing this video, I'm giving you the sponsor link in the pinned comment for those who are looking for a job. It's a system that can help them apply proactively for jobs that aren't easily available or visible online. The system uses artificial intelligence to edit your resume, write a cover message, find a matching job, and send it in a fully automated way. I think it's a very good tool to use today, and I want to thank Melhor Job, Candibus, melhorjobcandibus.com for sponsoring this video. It's very important for keeping this channel running. I'm leaving you a voucher in the pinned comment, aldosterone, which gives you 50 off your first month with them. Thanks again to Condibu and Melhor Job for sponsoring this video. And I'll see you in the next one. This was a Nord series. See you very soon.